exactly.
No. I remember where I was. I want to say the same thing. Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was I did some math, and when I say that, my dream car at the time was a Lamborghini, one of the V12s they had. The Murcielago just came out. It was running about 350, and I wanted the car. I also wanted a house for myself. I looked at the kind of house that I wanted. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have a family and all this great stuff. So I needed at least a 4-bedroom, 4 maybe 5-bath house, because you gotta have the 3 kids. That's the American dream. So a family of 5, everybody get their own bathroom or bedroom. You gotta get your mom a house, because mom's there for me when I. So if I got mom a house that was about half the size of mine, 3-2 or something in a nice neighborhood, and I got to pay off my student loans, got to do those, got to have a regular car, wife got to have a car, and I just started doing all of this math. Then I started adding up how much I would make as a veterinarian. And the average veterinarian coming out of college make about $100,000. You should be about $100,000 in debt. I wanted a $300,000 car. Some of the best veterinarians in the country make about $500,000, but you can say the average veterinarian make about 200, 250.
Okay, so he's making 200, 250, but your school loan is now $100,000 that you have to pay back.
Right.
So,
but that doesn't include the Lamborghini at 3. The house that I wanted was $500,000. Mom's house was $250,000. Just the math just wasn't adding up. Either I would be living out of my car or I would be paying off loans, and so a combination of all of that and the stuff that I mentioned previously kind of made me come to the conclusion that, yeah, I can walk away from school.
Okay, so you walked away from school. You had this dream, this vision of everybody you want to take care of, and now you're moving down that path. And you looked at how much money it's going to cost you to do these things.
Yeah.
Why did you decide that now was that time was the time to do it?
I guess it was just a mentality that I had built up. Like, there was no fear of me not knowing and not being able to do because of my past, which was selling the candy and network marketing. Like, it wasn't a big deal for me to go out and take care of me. So I literally just left.
Okay, so let's go back to the candy deal for a moment, and you'll see how that ties in a moment. So we go back to the candy. You're selling the candy at a young age. What age?
I was probably started like 13, 14.
13, 14 years old, you're selling candy. There was no motivating factor behind you, mentors or somebody say, hey, why don't you go out here and sell some candy and make some money?
Well, the motivating factor was my older brother. He was 7 years, he is 7 years older than me, and I've only seen him make a way by going out and getting what he wanted. And he had other relatives selling. He had a candy empire. My brother wasn't in school anymore, but he understood that there was a gap between how much candy the vending machine sold and how much candy was needed in the school. So my brother had a candy empire, and he just let me keep my own personal candy route. And so, he had myself, a couple of cousins. He probably had like 8 of us selling candy. And so, since I got to keep all of my money and my profits, I started going. Even when he stopped, I kept it going. So I had to actually expand it. It wasn't just candy, it was juice too. So I had a duffel bag full of candy and juice. Every day I was making trips to Walmart. I had a true empire in high school.
So you didn't have the brick and mortar, you just had your backpack candy store for everyone. And it stemmed from what your brother was doing.
Yes.
So you saw him, he in essence then was your first mentor.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. He was the first mentor, the one that gave me that drive.
And that's what's projected you and propelled you to where you're at now then? You believe that, or?
I believe it was him seeing my grandfather and listening to my mother always tell me to be educated and stay in the books and make sure that I was learning, and she told me there was nothing I can do. So it was kind of a combination of all that.
So your mom, grandmother?
Yeah, my grandmother. my grandfather, and like it was just kind of the environment that I grew up in. My sister was smart. I always seen her in the books, so I always wanted to be smart like her, but I always wanted to be able to go make something happen like my brother. And my mother was just always telling me I can be whatever I wanted to be and I could be great.
So I'll ask you this then. Was there a competitiveness then with that? Because you say you look at your sister, you look at your brother, and look at the other family members. And say, you know what? Maybe I could do that too, or I can be a little bit better at it.
It created a competitive culture. My sister's 5 years older than me. My brother's 7 years older than me. So, like, they didn't see it as being competitive. I was just a little younger sibling. But me personally, I always took it as a challenge to be like the 2.0 version combined of them two. Like, not only did I want to excel in my academics, but I also wanted to excel in my own personal.
So it wasn't about trying to impress them, but at the same time, it was trying to impress them. You want them to see that, okay, I can do this too. And not only can I do it, but I can do it real good. So did you at that time have that I'm not only in the race, but I want to win the race mentality?
Yeah, it drove me to become a winner. Like, that got instilled in me very early. And everything that they did, I ended up doing. And I always try to take it a step further. Like, for example, we all took karate. My brother he ended up being a higher belt in karate. But I took karate, but I was also a gymnast. So he was a little better at karate, but I was a little cooler at it because I could backflip or something.
So everything they were doing, you added your own twist to it.
Yeah, that's a great way
to make it your own. Okay, so when did all that translate into, all right, I'm going to go down the financial road as well? Since you looked at it, you were profitable, but when did it change to say, I need to know more about the money aspect as far as financially and developing that?
It changed when I had to sit down with my roommate's father. He educated me in a way that I had never been educated before, which was on a financial level. During that time, I got introduced to Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, so I actually had some thought-provoking questions to ask, and his replies opened up Pandora's box for me mentally and financially. And once that happened, that's when I decided to pursue finance, because finance at that moment no longer became finance to me. It became a measurable goal of my ability to grow as an individual.
The reason I ask is because selling the candy and all that can be fun.
Right.
But what about the financial aspect of it? You're spending money, but it comes time that somewhere along the line you say, I need to save some money to get to the next level. So when did that translate and decided, okay, I really need to knuckle down and see where the money's going, not just I'm bringing it in, but where's it going to?
Oh, wow. Okay, so that moment happened. So I leave college and I come home with no plan, no nothing, and reality sets in that I'm an adult now. Like, can't live at home for free. So I got to go out and get a job. Go out and get a job, and I hate it. Leave that job and go to another job, and I hate it. Leave that job and go to another job. This time I have a plan. I'm going to work here until I can save up enough money to start a landscaping company. And I started a landscaping company. And I started a landscaping company because I didn't want to work. And I didn't want to become self-employed. Here's what I mean. I'm allergic to grass. Like, terribly allergic to grass. Pollen makes me itch. I sneeze. Like, every day I cut grass, I had to take a Benadryl or something, or I would be itching and nothing would get done. So my thought process was, if I do something I hate, I'll eventually turn it into a true business to where it'll function on its own and I can sit back and collect checks.
So necessity helped propel you too then, to a degree. You couldn't work in that kind of environment, so your body was saying, you need to do something differently.
Correct.
So you decided, I want to do something differently. Where are you at now?
So now I am a real estate entrepreneur and everything is fantastic. But back then, real estate hadn't hit the radar just yet. It was cutting grass and working because everybody told me that cutting grass wasn't a real business because there wasn't a lot of people that made a lot of money cutting grass. Because, everybody can start a landscaping business on the side.
So you were basing, at that time, your decisions were based on what other people thought.
Yes. So what happened is one day I go to work and I'm having a really bad day. And at work, they continued to talk to me at what I felt was a subhuman level. I am an adult. I am a man. Please respect me as an individual. I understand you have a job to do, but respect comes first. I felt disrespected, and then I see my paycheck. It was 20% of what I had made landscaping that week. I walked out, and I've never been back to that.
And how long ago was that?
Almost 10 years ago.
Okay.
Man, time.
So 10 years ago was when you made that decision, enough's enough. I'm not going to go and work for anybody else anymore. It's going to be me.
Exactly.
And that was the tipping point or turning point to move you into real estate?
No, because I cut some more grass and I saved up some money, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do some real estate and make some money now, because real estate is the way to go. And real estate was the way to go, just not at that time.
Okay, and you're saying it was the way to go, not at that time, but who or what was it that caused you to make that determination? No, I want to go into real estate.
It was a subconscious thing because I had seen my family do real estate for so long. So subconsciously, I felt like real estate was the way to go. And then I heard a statistic at the time that 80% of millionaires make their fortunes in real estate. So I wanted to be a part of the masses and the wealth and go the most guaranteed route in my eyes. So I go the real estate route, and it definitely didn't work out the way I thought it would.
All right, since it didn't work out initially the way you thought it was, what was the tipping point, as I asked earlier? What was the tipping point? What was it that started you to think and say, you know what, I didn't do this the right way. I'm going to stick with it, because obviously you stuck with it. But what happened that caused you to say, you know what, I need to revamp the direction I'm going with it?
It wasn't really that kind of story. And what I mean is so I stopped landscaping to invest in real estate and become a real estate investor. And what I didn't know at the time was the real estate bubble had just happened. So
Now explain bubble, because people who may
well,
listen to this and say, well, he said bubble, but I'm a lay person. What does bubble mean?
the real estate bubble was a time when we basically went through a Great Depression, but everybody likes to call it a big recession. It was when the housing market crashed because of the subprime mortgages. So you couldn't get any financing, you couldn't do any flips. Basically, if you didn't have cash to buy real estate to hold for rentals and a ton of it, you essentially couldn't make any money in a traditional sense. And this is right when I got into the market. So being uneducated and bullheaded, I just thought that, hey, I know real estate is the way to go. Real estate never fails. I'll get into real estate. And I went an entire year with no money. And things got pretty bad, to say the least.
So is that at that point you decided I need help? And when I say I need help, that means mentoring, books, some education as far as not making the same mistake twice?
Well, actually, I had already had two mentors that had cost me like $3,000 to $4,000, and they didn't work out at all.
Now, you saying they didn't work out? They didn't work out because they didn't know what they're talking about, or it didn't work out because you didn't implement what they had instructed?
A combination of the two. They knew what they were talking about, but I didn't implement what they were saying because the market had changed so drastically that the information that they were teaching didn't work at the time. So it was kind of the perfect storm for me to fail. But I had got educated enough to know that I knew I was missing some small piece of information. I just had to figure out how the market had shifted, and then I would position myself to take advantage of that. And so I kept seeking mentorship, and that's when I found my first true mentor. And that's when things turned around. I ordered a course, and I spent my last dime on the course. I had no money at that point, like literally. Ordered the course, it didn't work out in the sense that I never even got it. So I call and I complain, and I go off because I think I'm talking to an employee, and I really have nothing against this person. I'm just stressed out and I have nobody to vent to, so I just had a moment. That moment turned into something beautiful because the person that I thought was an employee was the actual real estate guru. That guru gave me 30 minutes of his time. We had a great conversation. He overnighted me my course, but more importantly, he gave me 3 pieces of information that weren't in his course and weren't in any of the other courses that I had purchased, but they were the 3 pieces of information that I had needed.
Well, I would ask you what they are, but we'll hold on to that because that's information people can get later on when they take some courses with you. So you were frustrated, you were venting, and you realized, maybe I should ask you this way, when did you realize that this guy that you were venting to was the person you really needed to be with?
When he told me his name, as soon as he told me who he was, I knew him from the course in the video that I had watched to buy the course. And so I'm like, oh wow, this is fantastic. So I have him, and I understand that I want to take advantage of his time, and we're talking, and we had a couple of things in common because he was in Florida and I lived in Ohio at the time, but he was from Ohio, so, you know, we had some common ground, and I guess he kind of liked me after I cussed him out.
After you get past that part, it's okay, right? Okay.
So we talked, and I realized that I had got the information that I needed. I had heard something a long time ago in a previous course. Now that I think about it, I actually purchased 3 courses before I purchased this course. But what I heard in that, in the very first course I took was as an entrepreneur and definitely as a real estate investor is you want to become a transactional engineer. And a transactional engineer does 3 things. They obtain information, they understand the information, and more importantly, they know when and how to apply it. And when I heard what I needed to hear from my new mentor at the time, I knew exactly how to apply it to make money. I literally went from being negative on 3 bank accounts, probably about $1,000 a piece. I made $22,000 in less than 30 days.
And people will be able to learn all this, but how long did it take between that?
It was 30 days when I made my $22,000. From the conversation with him.
So in 30 days, you went from 1 to
$22,000.
Yeah,
I was negative in my accounts and I made $22,000, and that's when I had my aha moment. Because it was right around tax time. And I looked at how much money I had made from working close to an entire year, the time before, and, you know, I just kind of did some math and went back over my taxes, and I'm like, my net was only, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000 more than I had literally just net it in 30 days.
So this is something that you can teach other people, and it's very measurable and it's very doable.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Now it's a science. It's not even, you know, now I can show anybody anywhere in the continental U.S., or in the United States, it doesn't have to be continental, but in the United States, how to do what I do and make absurd money.
That's good. I'm trying to think of any other questions I need to ask you, but I think you pretty much answered. Unless you have something you want to offer everybody before you end.
Yeah, I do have a tidbit that I would love to offer. Understand that it's not, making money doesn't make me successful. I personally believe that you have air, and then you have money, and everything below it. And I say that because nothing in life is free except the air that you breathe. But it's not about having the money, it's about having the options. Because money gives you options. And the more money you have, the more options that you have. You have a choice where you live, a choice where you can go, a choice of who your friends are and how you treat those people around you. You have the opportunity to give. You know, you truly have options. And to me, that's what money is about. The more of it that I have, the more options that I have, and I can choose to do great things to impact several people. And that's what success is for me. It's growing every day and continuing to increase my options.
And changing lives. You're changing lives by what you're doing. So that's the best part of it, is making a difference in other people's lives by what you're doing with your own.
Excellent way to put it. Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. Well, I think that, it's almost like a TV show at this point. We come to the end of this section, but we look forward to the next.
Definitely.
And look forward to your training courses, because I know there'll be some training courses coming.
Yeah, there'll be a few. I wanna change people's lives financially. How my life has been changed to get somebody out of debt and to have them be able to help and bless other people will be a great thing.
So we thank you, Mr. Carnell Matthews, for your time and your input and your expertise, because that's what it really is. It's an expertise in the area, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.